Hey everyone, welcome to That's Peculiar. I'm Nathan.
I'm Andra.
And finally, I get to finish the episode. I get to finish the episode that I started. I know it's been 3 weeks?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh God.
At least 2.
What happened with that?
The 3rd week. Yeah, so I got the plague. I was so sick that I couldn't hear and I couldn't put headphones on. And I still have a double ear infection, but we're here.
That's
we're here today.
Awful. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not jealous of what you're going through at all.
I also don't know what walking pneumonia is, but don't get it because I actually felt like I was dying.
What is walking pneumonia? Because it's like
it is the weirdest thing.
So you have so is it actually pneumonia?
I think it's different in some aspects, but like it pretty much wiped me out. What I would say though is it's like I felt terrible, but I didn't feel so bad that I couldn't like be with my kiddo. But like I was congested, I like couldn't breathe right, and on top of that, like I had a fever, all the things. But then
what makes it walking?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because I had pneumonia when I was younger, and I remember I literally breathing hurt.
Yeah, so breathing hurts. I think what walking pneumonia, I don't know if this is true, and I'm not a doctor. I didn't feel like laid out. You know?
Maybe so I think it's like I might have had walking pneumonia when I was a kid then.
I feel like pneumonia could actually like be so serious. I think walking pneumonia is not as serious. It's pretty contagious for 48 hours.
Yes, pneumonia is very contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had my little inhaler. I remember I hated it. Anyway, so that sounds like your Christmas holiday was kind of boo. Sorry.
It was good in some ways, but not my favorite holiday because I was dying.
I went to a wedding at the beginning of December, and it was in Las Vegas, which was I was kind of like, Las Vegas, okay, but it wasn't like in Las Vegas. It was actually in Henderson, Nevada, which is a little bit out of Las Vegas. But the night of the wedding, we went up to the Strip, and the coolest part, I love this so much, is that the bride wanted the groomsmen and the bridesmaids and anybody who wanted to go with them to the Strip to go in their wedding attire. So she went to the Strip.
Oh, cool.
In her wedding dress.
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was so much fun.
Did people stop you guys?
Yeah, they definitely were like, "Oh my gosh, did you really get married?" And she's like, "Yes."
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Not so fun. I actually twisted my ankle real good that night too.
Oh no.
It was after we were heading out of back to our hotel. And I slipped on the curb somehow, and my ankle just went, and I ripped it hard, and I collapsed. I collapsed to the ground, and I was like, "Oh, my ankle! I think I broke it." So Ross had to half carry me, and I could not put any weight on it. The next day, it was awful. It's still sore, and it's been, oh God, almost a month.
Yeah, it's been a while,
and it still hurts. It's still sore. It's not perfect yet, but yeah, It was a great wedding.
I have terrible ankles, but I actually watched somebody. I'm gonna just say, if you don't want to listen to something a little gory, just fast forward this.
30 seconds.
Vegas,
go.
Yeah, in Vegas, I watched this girl. She had high heels on. They were like high stilettos. She twisted her ankle so bad that the bone jutted out. It didn't rip the skin, but it
So she broke her ankle?
So I heard people talking. It sounded like she actually broke her leg in another place. So she broke it in a couple of places.
PSA,
stilettos in Vegas are a terrible idea.
PSA, don't wear heels you can't handle.
Well, even I feel like I've seen people in stilettos that can handle it, but when you're super drunk and you're on the strip with a lot of people, a lot of different, like, moving things, maybe that's not the heel that you should be wearing that day. Because
Mm,
some of those stairs too, like, I've seen girls have to walk down them, like, sideways.
Oh, yeah, the stairs are not even, especially
Yeah.
depending on, like, where you're at. Oh,
So that's where this person was, and I think her husband even said, like, she wears heels every day. I don't think she's, like, normally a person that would ever have a problem. It just
but that
sometimes
day
that
she
shit
did
happens. She was fucking drunk, and I'm actually so thankful she was, because
a lot worse.
I think she would have been a lot worse, yeah.
Yuck!
Mhm.
That's awful. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna get into religion and witchcraft part dose.
Part 2, finally.
I finally, literally,
I
after all this
know.
time, I forgot where we were, so I had to find it. All right. So last we talked about how architecture of ritual and when it
Mhm.
comes to like symbolism and things like that and how they're very similar. So now we're going to talk about how rituals made religion. So we're going to talk about from pagan to pulpit. So when Christianity swept across Europe, it didn't erase what came before it. It absorbed it and metabolized it and renamed
Mhm.
it.
Mhm. That still is, like, a good recap, though, kind of like, what we were talking about, and I actually have a great example at some point, and I could do it right now
Yeah,
while we're still, like, sifting through.
yeah,
So, Jack and I decided this year, because our Christmas felt so brief and, like, we weren't feeling well, we wanted to do 12 days of Christmas. It kind of was a laugh in our face because I was sick, like, the whole next 2 weeks,
yeah,
but, basically, I took the ideas from celebrating solstice because essentially that's kind of what 12 days of Christmas ended up turning into. So, solstice, they have like a prank day, they have a fire day, they have like a renew day and stuff. It's so funny because 12 days of Christmas does too.
yeah,
And what's funny about that is they actually relate 12 days of Christmas to even like certain um people within the Bible. I can't remember the person on the prank day, but they, like, had a saint.
I love that there's
It
a prank
there's a
day.
reason. Yeah, there is, but there's a saint that they say that it's after, but it's funny to me because it was, like, in paganism, it was still, like, a whole day. But basically, we did 12 days of Christmas, so it's the 25th, I think, is considered the first day, and then it goes to the 5th, or some people do the 26th to the 6th,
Oh,
and it
that's
was fun.
interesting. I didn't know that's how the
Yeah,
12 days of Christmas worked. I was always like, what are the 12 days of Christmas? Does it start on
right.
Christmas?
We have that song, but originally Christmas was, spread out like that, like, Christmas was the first day of the celebrating, but then, of course, like, companies came and manufacturers, and realistically, jobs couldn't have people celebrating for 12 days, we couldn't have festivals as long anymore,
I
and
feel like we
then
could have, but capitalism is the worst.
exactly. So they cut a lot of things short and wanted us to cram a lot of things in one day. So now everybody has like not everybody, but some people get like post Christmas depression because it's like all this build up for just one day.
For a
And
day.
that's
For
yeah,
a
that's why
day.
we didn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
fair. So the modern believer, it sounds like heresy, but to the historian, it's continuity. So every empire inherits the bones of the culture it conquers. If any of this
Mhm.
sounds familiar, please stop me because I feel like this is where we're at.
This is familiar, but I still think no matter what, a little recap isn't a bad thing. But I think
Okay.
this is kind of where we were.
Okay. I feel like we're around this area because we were talking about how Rome had already done so because they adopted the Greek gods, Etruscan omens, and Egyptian mysteries. And when
Mhm.
Christianity rose from the empire's eastern provinces, it was born into that fluent ritual of exchange. And the first followers of Jesus were not building a new religion, but they were just reinterpreting the old conversation. So they lived
Which
among the synagogues of Judaism,
yeah, which
the
I did
shrine,
not know that, yeah.
yeah, the shrines of Isis, the cults of Mithras, and the ecstatic rites of Dionysus. So each of these faiths, they promised personal salvation through ritual participation, initiation, meal, confession, rebirth, and Christianity simply synthesized all these forms under
Mhm.
the single narrative of God, one sacrifice, one redemption.
Right.
So historian Ronald Hutton in Stations of the Sun, he notes that early missionaries entering the Celtic and Germanic lands faced a dilemma that they could either ban local festivals outright or they could baptize them. And they
Mhm.
chose baptism. So Yule became Christmas. Beltane's fires became the Pentecostal flame
Right.
imagery. Samhain communion with the dead became All Hallows. So it wasn't deceit, it was a different form of diplomacy. So
Right.
people accepted the new story more easily and it when it's told in a familiar language.
Mhm.
And you can consider the goddess Brigid of the Celts, patron of healing, poetry, and smithcraft. When Ireland converted, the church canonized her Saint Brigid of Kildare. The church canonized her as Saint Brigid of Kildare, keeping her feast on February 1st, which is precisely the date of the pagan Imbolc festival. Her sacred
Mhm.
flame, once tended by priestesses, continued under nuns.
Which I don't even know what brigade whatever. I
I'm not
don't
familiar.
celebrate anything on February 1st.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with her either. But basically, it's the change from it's no longer priestesses, it's now nuns, and so it wasn't
Right.
the ritual, just the name on the shrine that they were dealing with.
Right. Same thing as, like, 12 Days of Christmas. It's different names, but very
S-
similar
Yeah,
celebrations.
exactly.
And
Like
maybe sometimes
Samhain
the
becomes All
dates
Hallows.
change. Yeah.
It's all those things. It's literally taking what was already celebrated and rearranging it with a new name to make Christians feel comfortable.
Mhm.
hmm So it's the same pattern unfolds across the Mediterranean. The Egyptian goddess Isis, whose devotees called her Mother of God, and depicted her nursing her divine son Horus, reappears in Christian iconography as the Virgin Mary.
Right.
Temples of Isis in Rome and Alexandria were rededicated to the Madonna with little alteration. So even the title Queen of Heaven migrated intact.
We have the Madonna at Waldorf, and that's, present of mother with children. So
hmm
that's just it's so interesting how the Madonna has, like, carried through several different religions, but you're right, it's not the Madonna. It's a little bit of a different story sometimes.
hmm
Or
Uh,
even I feel like Mother Earth kinda gives the same vibe as the
yes,
Madonna.
Mother Earth could. I mean, everything, there is a relation to it. And I even think, if I recall correctly, Isis' son Horus was also, she was virgin,
Mhm.
and
I
Horus
don't know.
was, I believe. I'm
Could
not up
be.
on my Egyptian lore.
Yeah, neither am I.
In the Gnostic Gospels, Elaine Pagels observes that early Christian communities were far from uniform. So some viewed the Eucharist symbolically, and others as literal transformation. Some elevated Mary Magdalene as a teacher, and others suppressed her entirely. Only later, when orthodoxy hardened, did the boundaries between church ritual and so called magic become weapons of exclusion. The
Which
Roman world was already familiar with mystery cults. The devotees of Mithras, for instance, they gathered in subterranean caves called Mithraea, where the ceiling was painted with stars and the initiates shared a sacred meal of bread and wine.
Oh,
And the parallels to the Christian communion is very similar.
right.
So, to Roman authorities, both groups were secretive fraternities practicing superstitio, unregulated religion.
Mhm.
It wasn't until Constantine that one of the fraternities gained the imperial legitimacy. Language was the key to that transformation. The word paganist originally meant country dweller. Urban Christians used it to describe rural people who kept to the old seasonal rites, and over time pagan became a synonym for idolater or sorcerer, which
Mhm.
we're familiar with. That's how we view it
Yeah.
today. But the villagers themselves hadn't changed, it was just the label.
Right.
By
Just
the
like
early
everything else.
Literally. By the early Middle Ages, church liturgy and folk magic lived side by side. A farmer might attend Mass in the morning and bury an herb charm under his field at dusk. A priest might bless holy water using psalms, once used as incantations, when inquisitors later condemned witches for maleficium. They were often prosecuted versions of the church itself and had quietly rebranded for centuries. So the boundary between altar and cauldron was and remains very porous. Both
Mhm.
rely on symbolic objects, chalices, candles, circle,
Right.
salt. Each is imbued with an intention, both invoke the unseen to influence the seen, and both depend on faith that words and gestures can bridge worlds. And so we return unsettling thought. Christianity did not abolish magic, it institutionalized it and made it mainstream in a different
Mhm.
form.
Just different ways, different way to think of it, different
Yeah,
style.
exactly. But it same.
Just
So
because you connect it with a god or a saint doesn't mean it's that
yes.
different.
And I feel like a lot of the times when you talk about like the gods of Egypt versus like the God of Christianity, people will say, well, God said that he's the one true God. And then you're like, that's what he said. But there's other, I don't know. It's, and then you
There's
start,
so
there's,
many other gods, yeah.
yeah. And so it's like, well, why is he true versus other? There's just lots of questions. And, you know,
Right.
I was thinking about this the other day actually. And it, my thought process was far more crisp and concise about comparison, but it fails me at this moment in time.
I love when that happens, or I because it happens to me where I'll be like, "Oh, I should bring that up during that episode."
Yes.
And then the time comes and I'm like, "Huh?
And you're
What
like,
even
dang
was
it.
that?"
How was I going to
You're
say
like,
that? I don't
"All
even
my
remember.
good thoughts are in the morning."
Yes. It was in the morning. And you're like, oh, that's so well articulated and it sounds great
Yeah.
and it's so well thought out. And then you come to the moment and you go, brain fart.
Mhm.
It's
Can't
the
I don't even know
worst.
what words are. Yeah.
Hmm. So if we're going to talk about ritual being the action, you know, incantations and movements and all these things, language is the engine that drives it. That spoken word in every culture has been regarded as a force which is capable of creation or destruction, a blessing or a curse. So we're talking about, you know, like even The Secret, if we're talking about in, you know, modern era, like was
Mhm.
it early 2000s or mid 2000s that The Secret was like huge. Do
I
you
don't
remember
know what
that?
the secret is.
Oh, The Secret is basically, the law of attraction. Do you know what that is?
Mm.
Oh,
But, like, I understand the gist of a law of attraction, but
yeah, and so
what is the
basically they call
secret?
it it's the law of attraction. It was just, trademarked.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so, you know, the words you put out, the words you say, the words you believe, those things attract what comes to you. So if you believe you're
Right.
unlucky, you will be unlucky, the whole thing.
People are still saying stuff like that today about, like, our brain and how we could trick our brain,
Yeah,
and
and if you go into, like If you go further into like the metaphysical, it's all about the vibration. So if you're putting the vibration of positivity, the vibration you return is positive. It's a whole thing.
Right.
So the very term spell shares a root with the gospel and spelling. In Old English, spell spent spel meant story, narrative, or disclosure.
Right.
To spell something was to give it form through sound. Over centuries, the meaning narrowed down to two domains: letters and magic, and still the act of arranging symbols to shape reality.
Right. And it's funny how that got so changed because it could be like simple stories that we hear now, and spell was used like as bedtime story, what we have in place. Basically the word story
Well, even when they say, like,
taken
sit
over.
down for a spell.
Yeah. You're like, "Great, where's my
Cool.
story?"
Where is it?
So
Yeah.
people just think of it as like a short time.
Yeah. Theologian Thomas Aquinas wrote that prayer moves God, quote, not to change his will, but to make us worthy to receive what he wills to grant.
Okay.
I'm going to say it again. Prayer moves God not to change his will, but to make us worthy to receive what he wills to grant.
Yeah, that's weird though because it's like, okay, so if you're in a car accident and you're like, "Please don't let me die."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Okay, were you always wanting me
Yes.
to not die?" And you're saying, "I'm now worthy because 'cause I'm asking you?"
Yeah. It's
But,
not
like, what if
changing.
you die? What if you pray and you die and you're just like,
Well,
"Well,
that
that
was
was
his
God's
will.
always intended."
Yes.
I hate when people
Everything
say that and somebody dies and they're like, "Well, that was their intended
that was God's
purpose." And
plan.
you're like,
Yeah.
"Great."
That's God's plan.
You're like,
Okay.
"That doesn't make me feel
It doesn't
better
help
at
me.
all."
Yeah. I
Yeah.
still feel like crap. Thank you.
Mm,
Occult philosopher Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa, writing a millennium later, claimed that spoken charms imprint the human desire upon the spirit of the world, which kind of gets back into that uh words of affirmation, saying those things out loud.
right.
It's kind of like that. So the two traditions of prayer and spoken charms, one is theological, one is magical, and yet both are asserting that speech channels intention into being.
Right.
So that's what they always like. They talk about, like, setting your intention and what's your intention, and
We just all did it probably for the new
New
year.
Year. Yeah, like what's your New Year's resolution?
What's your goals? Yeah, I don't like New Year's
I s-
resolutions,
I
but
actually did not make one this year. I'm not
Jack and
I'm not
I
doing that.
did the 12 wishes, and this was a solstice thing. In 12 wishes, you
You're
write
such a
down, and then
pagan.
no, we're just trying different things because, like, some of the traditions that we have today, like, let's just say the way that it's set now, aren't as whimsical as, like, some before, and we're trying to bring in the whimsy while we have a 2-year-old. But the
Hello,
12
elf on the
wishes,
shelf.
I don't do Elf on the Shelf, and it's hilarious because I saw this post of, like, the, original vampires from Vampire Diaries who are, like, up on no, it was actually Twilight, the, like, court of vampires that they have where they're all, like, up there and they're, like,
Yes.
on their pillar. It's
Mhm.
all moms who don't do Elf on the Shelf, and it's them, and it cracks me up. But the idea of 12 wishes is you, write down 12 wishes for your next year, which it's very different, and you start this actually at solstice, not,
Yeah,
at
there
the
was
new
this year was
year.
the 21st of December?
Yeah. Yeah, that is the day. But you burn one at a time
Like,
every
every
day
day?
for the next 12 days, but the last one you have is actually the one that you provide yourself for the next year. The other ones go into the world and maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
But you put down your wish and it's like, okay, let's make that happen this year. And I think it's cool. It's not like a resolution, it's just something that
It's
you really hope for yourself.
it's giving law of attraction.
Yes, a little bit, yeah, which it's fine.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Everybody has their thing and it all has a different name and they all do the different things, but it's all the same thing,
Right.
which is what we're talking
Which is
about.
what we're trying to tell you.
Which is what we're talking about. So across languages, that idea is repeating. So the Egyptian concept of Heka described magic as the creative power of speech. It was both a god and an act. In Genesis, creation begins with a sentence, and God said, "Let
Mhm,
there be light." The Hebrew prophets speak of Debar Yahweh, the word of God, as an active force that goes forth and does not return void. In Hindu scripture, the universe itself vibrates with Om, the primordial syllable. And in the Gospel of John, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. It's all about
um,
words.
there was a crazy noise on my end
What?
when you were saying vibrates.
What
It
happened?
literally was all "Durr." So, if anyone else heard that, he said the word vibrates
There's
during that, and
power
we did not
in
bleep it out,
words.
but if you want to think that we did, we did.
No, we didn't. There's power in words. It's all vibration.
Yep, it
Um,
just happened. The universe was like, "Let's do this."
yeah, we're gonna make it
God put
happen.
that into
So whether you call it Heka, mantra, or logos, the principle is identical that words generate your world.
Mhm,
And medieval priests knew this intuitively. So the Latin Mass, it was recited in a language most parishioners did not understand. It relied less on comprehension than on rhythm and resonance. So to the ear, it was incantation, which is a sonic veil between the mortal and the divine. Scholars of liturgy note that the transition from Latin to vernacular in the 20th century diminished the mystical atmosphere precisely because it became intelligible and understanding breaks the spell.
mhm,
So it was the unknowingness and giving into the vibration and the emotion and the feeling was all part of it. It was
right,
that cadence. And so
right,
magic also does depend on cadence. It's that repetition of a charm, the same intonation, the breathing that's synchronized to the phrase. It's all about creating that trance. And modern neuroscience confirms that rhythmic speech can entrain brain waves, lowering the boundaries between the conscious and the subconscious. So, what we call faith or focus may be physiologically performing an ancient choreography. So,
mhm,
like with meditation or in saying
right,
Om or
um,
anything that creates that vibration within us can alter our brain, basically.
mhm,
Um,
right,
have you ever heard of binaural beats? So, it's a I don't know, I don't wanna say music because it's not really music, but it's like a sound, and in one ear it plays at 1 megahertz, and the other side it plays at a different one, and then together it creates kind of like a in your ear.
oh, then
Uh,
yeah. I also think of, like, the sound baths. We just
Yeah,
had a
kind of like
sound bath at the
yeah.
school.
So there's the sound bath, but the only thing is that's different is each ear is
Plays in
different.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, and and it's supposed to alter the way your brain waves work and help you get to different states of
Wow.
brain activity. Um, from my understanding, they've used it in like therapy sessions to help people kind of go through past trauma.
Right.
Also, it's like a
So
yeah,
it's like EMDR, but different.
yeah, yeah,
Rewiring stuff, yeah.
yeah. Very interesting things since we're talking about like tone and vibration and all that stuff.
Right, no, it's
Um,
so interesting.
so going back to the words, so you're considering the structure that every invocation they do follow the same kind of order. So it's address. praise,
Mhm.
petition, release. Okay. So, like when you look at a Christian prayer, Heavenly Father, address, we thank you
Right.
for your mercy. Praise, grant us peace. Petition, Jesus' name, amen. Release.
Mhm.
Okay. Awaken spell, Lady of Moonlight, address, I honor your power. Praise, bring harmony to my circle. Petition, so mote it be. Release.
Right.
So each begins with the acknowledgement, which precedes that form of flattery. Then you state the desire, and then you
Cycle.
seal the act. It's the formula is universal because it mirrors human conversation with authority. It's first recognition, then request.
Right.
So your spell is the same thing as a prayer, different form.
Right.
Same thing. Linguist J.L. Austin, in How to Do Things with Words, coined the term performative utterance. It's statements that don't describe reality but create it. For example, I now pronounce you married. You are forgiven. This is my body. Religious and magical speech are performative at their core. They do not explain, they enact.
Right.
So even the names invoked do carry power. So in Jewish tradition, the divine name Tetragrammaton, Yahweh, was considered too potent to pronounce. In Christian exorcisms, the name of saints, angels, they are used as weapons against the chaos. And
Mhm.
in witchcraft, the same logic does govern the use of deity names and sigils. The identity grants access. Questions, comments, concerns?
No. No, no. I so it just all basically flows,
Yeah.
and it's yeah.
The Quran calls its revealed verses ayat, or signs. To recite them correctly is to participate in the divine order of sound. Islamic scholars described Arabic itself as the medium of revelation. It's not just the container, it's much like the Latin of the Mass or the chant of the coven.
Mhm.
So, language is not only communication, it's the technology, its codes are invisible. uh, Whoever controls those codes define what counts as a miracle or what counts as heresy.
And when you say heresy, what give an example. What are you
S-
thinking?
So when we talk about heresy, we're talking about the easiest inform for me is talking about the Christian faith. So anybody who participates in like witchcraft or let's say you still believe in Egyptian gods or you're doing any that's heresy. It's the different forms
Right.
because
Just
that's not
against.
yeah, you're against the norm of Christianity, so therefore it's heresy.
Okay.
Even though ultimately what you're doing is the same, even if it's to a quote unquote different god.
So when you do that with spoken word heresy,
So heresy would be like,
oh,
I'm praying, I'm saying a spell. That's heresy.
right. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting because when it all boils down to it, it's all going up into things that we cannot prove exist.
Right. It's faith.
It's
It's
the faith of it all, and the fact that we have wars waged on the way people feel.
oh, I can't even like it just bothers me so bad how people won't even listen to another opinion sometimes about something like that
Yeah,
because it
it's
doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong to say that it's okay that they feel that way, you know? Like,
yeah.
2 things can be true. You can be right and they can be right. It doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you have to prove the other is
L
wrong.
let's focus on that you can be right and they can be right, because if I say that I am Christian and I believe in God, I can be
Mhm.
right, and then the person who says, "I don't necessarily believe in God, but I believe in something bigger than all of us, spirit, energy,
Right.
whatever the universal bonds of what everything
Yeah.
is," they can also be right.
They can also be right because it's a belief within them.
And it's not just that, it's the way you're deciding to your perspective of how you want to view it might be different of the person who is viewing it in a different perspective. It's
Yeah.
literally, when you boil it down, is the same thing looked at through different lenses.
Do you guys remember that dress that was, like, black and gold
But
or
oh
blue
my
and
god,
silver?
it
And,
was
like, some
white and
people
gold.
saw it or white and gold, sorry. But do you know what I mean? Like, black and blue or white and gold, and,
I
like,
hate
some people
color
were, like,
theory.
fighting each other over that,
Yes.
and you're like, "Why? Why?"
And
Because
it's
it's
it turns out it was blue and black, just so we're clear.
okay, I also saw blue and black, but
I saw white and gold.
I think at one point I saw white like, I saw what other people were thinking, and it doesn't matter.
No.
I'm bringing that up to be like, no matter what, like, yes, maybe in that example, there was a wrong answer, but it doesn't mean that that changes how
It
that
was
person could see it. Like,
it
they
was the
saw it as
lens.
that color.
It was the lens through which they saw it.
Right,
It was all this, it was the dress,
right.
and it was colors.
So now take that dress and blanket it over, like, just beliefs that have been taken and twisted or, like, turned into basically a long game of telephone
And
where there's
eventually
no actual, like, proof to the end of it
yeah,
necessarily. There's
and one
some
day
stories
it'll
written
be
down,
it'll
but
show, yeah.
yeah,
One day the truth will happen, and people will be like, "Oh my god, I feel so stupid."
when God chooses whether I die or live,
Oh,
whether
for
I pray for
pneumonia?
it or not.
Oh,
Yeah.
that part.
No, not that. I really hope, knock on wood.
So during the Inquisition, women who whispered healing charms were condemned for using words of power outside of
Mhm.
clerical authority. The church wouldn't let them. Yet the
Yeah,
priests who sentenced them
did the
relied
same
on
thing.
exactly, they relied on the Latin formulas believed to expel demons with the same words. Both
Right.
sides trusted in verbal potency. It was just, a difference of license. Women,
Someone had a penis and someone had a vagina.
yes, women weren't allowed, men were because they were priests.
Right.
It is uncomfortable, perhaps, to realize that the heart of every faith rests upon what outsiders would call a spell, a structured sequence of sounds intended to alter reality, also known as a prayer. But that
Mhm.
discomfort is exactly what reveals a kinship between belief systems.
Yeah,
If
and
the
that's why
word,
people should think about listening.
yes, if the word can bless, it can curse. If it can sanctify, it can enchant. The
Right.
boundary is not drawn by the cosmos, but was apparently drawn by the church door.
Right. Same thing as if you believe in, it's funny that you mentioned the cosmos, like, the stars show your thing. What is it? Horoscopes. If you
Your horoscope.
believe
Oh, yeah.
in any of that, like, all of that stuff has, like, an idea, and, like, other religions have thought the world was going to end at different times or,
Girl, the world
you
was
know
supposed to end like 3 times last year.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, there were. It's ending now. Anyway, there's also, I don't remember. It is the 12 disciples represent the 12 zodiac signs in some way or some
Maybe.
form.
I mean, I feel like with the
If I
number 12.
if I remember correctly, that's like one of them or something. I didn't do too much research into that. I just, my friendly TikTok tarot reader.
Right. Told you. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they just pop up my FYP. So nothing reveals humanity's instinct for ritual transformation more starkly than blood. In every in every culture that recorded myth, blood is the hinge between worlds, life consecrated and death transcended.
Right. Always.
Anthropologist James Fraser wrote in The Golden Bow in 1890, traced sacrifice back to prehistoric fertility rites where the death of the king or bull renewed the land. Quote,
Mhm.
The blood of the victim, he said, is the life of the people. And that idea surfaces everywhere from the Sumerian Dumuzi and the Greek Adonis to the Norse Blot, where animals were slaughtered so crops might thrive. We
Right.
also have that similarity, in Christian sacrifices of sheep
It's all
and goats
sacrifices. They've
and
all kept them up.
everyone. The Inca, the Aztec, sacrifices galore.
Right.
So the Hebrews refined it into the covenant blood as a contract. The temple priests sprinkled it on the altar, not for the gods, but for justice, a cosmic signature between creator and creation. Christianity kept the covenant, but internalized the victim, saying, "This is my blood," said Christ, which ended the need for sacrifices and embodying it once and for all.
Right.
But the mechanisms, of course, they stay the same. The living essence is offered and an invisible balance is restored. In folk magic, the logic is identical but intimate. A witch pricks a finger to seal a vow, mixes a drop with wax, or stains parchment with her mark. The act is
Right.
not of cruelty, it's just proof. Modern psychology would call it a commitment device, which is pain authenticates your intention.
Or
You
even
know,
like, this is what gives me life is my blood, and I'm putting this into my spell or whatever I want.
exactly. You're giving it power. And across the
Mhm.
ages, that message never changed. That power demands participation, so people would give blood offerings of some kind.
Right. Mhm.
Medieval theologians spoke of spiritual sacrifice, which is the giving of one's will. Alchemists called it rubedo, which is the reddening, the final stage when spirit and matter unite. Both are metaphors for transformation through surrender, and blood, literal or symbolic, remains the price of becoming. I remember when I was in church when I was younger, my parents literally offered my spirit up. Yeah,
What?
I know. And it was like in a very public fashion in front of the church
And
where
you're like,
it made me very uncomfortable because my dad said, what did he say? He said that I am offering my son's, I, something about like no longer being the custodian of me and offering my soul to God to guide
Right.
me. And I was like, hold up. What about how I feel?
Right? When? When
Yeah.
did we decide that
Like,
we were
wait,
doing this?
what? And
Mhm. This
I remember
feels like I can't reverse from
it,
this.
it, yes, it felt very in the moment. I was like, "You're doing what now?
Yeah.
Offering me." Okay,
And
it
you're
was
just like, "Oh, no."
yeah. I wish I could remember specifically what was said, but that literally, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this because where's my will and what I want?
Right.
So
Right.
anyway, um, so that same like blood language exists today. We talk about like bloodlines, blood brothers,
Mhm.
sweat and blood, sweat and
Forgetting about
tears.
blood brothers,
It's
but
all
yeah.
about yeah, it's all about the work and that the effort that we put into it when we
Did you
put
ever cut your hand to become blood brothers with someone?
absolutely not. Did you?
I'm willing to bet I did
I
because I was just that kinda kid.
That makes me think about uh
Practical Magic?
yes, your blood, my
She's all,
blood,
"Your
your
blood,
blood.
my blood, our blood. I will
Yes.
be connected to you the rest of my life."
Our
What's
blood.
worse is I have no idea who I'm probably blood brothers with, so,
That's kind of unsettling.
like, truthfully, so bad because I was, like, 5 years old and a hooligan,
And
so
what? And you cut your hand?
I think I was already bleeding, and maybe
And
they
you
were
just thought you'd
bleeding,
rub it
like,
in
we were
together?
yeah, we were just like, "Hey, we're both wounded."
Did I do that with some I think I might have pricked my
I
finger and did that with
I'm
someone.
willing to bet you did because we were all hooligans in the '90s, and we
That makes
walked around with our chop ramen and sharing our blood.
I'm uncomfortable.
The fact that
Who
we're
am I
all
bonded
still
with?
alive is crazy.
Wow. Wow. So whether your blood
Memory unlocked.
gross. So whether your blood drips on altar stones or rests unseen in the veins of bread and wine
Or people.
or someone
I'm
else,
fine.
blood is the oldest prayer that we know, and it's the promise that something dies so something else might live.
Right. Weird.
So now we're going to talk about how space is sanctifying, but its time is what binds the soul. Every
Mhm.
faith recreates eternity by breaking the year into, sacred recurrence, birth,
Well, I think
death,
that's
renewal.
exactly what it is. There's always renewal, and that's why
There,
people follow religion is because they're afraid of death.
well, but that's one of the things too is I just think about how the earth itself has its own time clock
Right.
of life, birth, life, death, and renewal. It's all in our, and like I
Even
really,
our forest has that.
yeah,
You could
everything.
break it down to, like, every little thing, yeah.
Literally, I honestly I hate that our new year starts in January because that's the dead of winter.
It's not when it's supposed to
That
start. It
no,
should actually
it's spring,
yeah. It should
life,
be
birth.
what is it in during harvest, right? That's when it should actually
No, it's not
be,
even
is when
that's not harvest is death. We're talking about spring. We're talking about the growth, the
Oh, right, yeah, I
newness.
had it backwards. It's supposed to be, like, the finishing of your
Yes,
year. That's right. And it should
the
be, like,
start is
April.
the spring solstice. That's when it's supposed to be the new year.
Right.
That's when you bring light and life and I
The
digress.
the Japanese or Chinese
The Chinese
I
New
think it's
Year is
Chin
closer to it. That's
it's
February.
closer, but it's not quite yeah, it's still
But
not
there's
quite there.
but the Chinese is theirs is a lunar New Year.
Right.
It's not that's not
Their whole calendar is so
yes,
different,
that's the
and they go
moon
through
base versus the
animals and
earth,
stuff.
which is yeah. So it's just
You know what
it
is so cool?
huh.
The Chinese New Year, I remember working at UV Skins, and we had a partnered facility that we worked with there, and
Mhm.
we talked to them a lot. The month of basically the New Year, it's like
February.
they were gone for, like, 3 weeks.
Yeah, the lunar New
Can't get
Year
a hold of
is
them.
no, nobody. Lots of
I
$2 bills
wish.
too. I love it.
Could you imagine? Oh, yeah, in red envelopes. I totally forget
Yes.
about that, but yeah, red
Yes.
$2 bills in red
Red
envelopes.
envelopes.
I wish we had any holiday where it's like, "Nope, we're turned off for 3 weeks, contact us when we're done."
That's so anti-capitalism of you.
I love it, though.
So long before missionaries, European villages turned to the wheel of the year through friar and feast. At Yule, the darkest night welcomed the return
Mhm.
of the light. At Imbolc, milk and the flames signaled purification. Beltane ignited fertility with bonfires and crossing smokes, and Samhain opened the veil to the ancestors.
Mhm.
When the church arrived, it couldn't abolish those rhythms, obviously. They were
Right.
agricultural law, so it folded theology into the calendar. So December 25th, once the Roman Sol Invictus, became Christmas, the birth of a new sun disguised as sun, S-O-N. Spring's equinox feast of Esther turned into Easter, the resurrection following the thaw. All Hallows absorbed Samhain's communion with the dead, only now candles were called prayers for souls in purgatory.
Right.
Historian Ronald Hutton showed how seamlessly these conversions occurred. Priests simply changed the blessing, not the date.
Yeah, or the person it's attached to, that's fine.
The people still danced. They still lit
Yeah.
fires. They still honored the cycles. But what changed was who claimed authorship of that miracle.
Mhm.
The pattern stretches beyond just Europe. In Egypt, the death and rising of Osiris marked the flooding of the Nile. In Mesopotamia, the descent of Inanna paralleled the sowing of the seed. In the Near East, Tammuz died with the heat and returned with the rains.
Mhm.
The Christian Passion retells the same seasonal truth, that decay and resurrection as moral drama. Eliade called this the myth of eternal return. Ritual time is circular, which defeats the history uh, by replaying creation.
Right.
So each Easter, each Beltane, each midsummer mass renews those cosmos as if for the first time. So to the modern ears, these festivals sound quaint, yet the instinct survives in secular form. New Year's resolutions, birthdays, anniversaries, graduation
Mhm.
seasons, all are repetitions that say, we begin again.
Again, right.
We are starting over again. So now we're going to step into the present and see how the same choreography kind of unfolds. So the bride still walks a prescribed path. The crowd rises at her entrance. Vows are spoken before witnesses. Rings, which are circles without end, seal the covenant. At funerals, the body is washed, veiled, carried, and committed to the earth with words of passage. At concerts, thousands lift glowing lights in unisons, chanting lyrics that promise transcendence. In sports stadiums, fans paint their faces, wear relics, and roar hymns to team totems. Even the digital world hums with ritual. Morning scrolling, posting at specific hours, and repeating hashtags like mantras of belonging.
Mhm.
Sociologist Amelie Durkheim would call these secular sacraments. Psychologist Irving Goffman would call them performances sustaining the ritual order of everyday life. They function as ancient ceremonies did. They bind individuals into the collective identity through shared symbolism and repeated gestures. Technology hasn't erased magic, it just turned it into a machine. The
Right.
algorithm rewards the devotion the way gods once rewarded sacrifice. We offer data instead of doves, attention instead of incense, and still we wait for a sign that we've been seen by a like, a follow, or a share.
Right.
What we call superstition persists because rituals speak the body's language. When logic fails to comfort, movement and rhythm take over. Lighting a candle of tragedy, touching wood for luck, whispering please to the sky, these are remnants of the world before theology sorted miracles into categories. Religion did not create ritual, but ritual created religion, and religion in turn taught ritual to justify itself. So we're going to go back to that church that we did in episode 1.
Okay.
The candles are shorter now, the smoke is hanging low. The same words are spoken that were spoken for 1,000 years, but they feel new because they always have. You strip away the Latin, the stained glass, the marble, and what remains is the impulse that began in caves and fields, which is to gather, to gesture, to speak meaning into the dark. Mircea Eliade once wrote, "To live as a human being is to be religious, whether one professes it or not." He did not mean adherence to doctrine, he just meant the unending need to consecrate existence, to make ordinary life shimmer with pattern. Perhaps then the real divide has never been between witches and priests, or spells and prayers, but between those who recognize ritual as creation and those who forgot that they are creating.
Mhm.
In faith, if faith is focused intention and ritual is the language through which it is spoken, then every church service is a spell, and every spell is a kind of prayer. Both call to the unseen, both rely on faith, and both, in their own vocabulary, promise transformation.
Mhm.
So when the chalice lifts and the voices rise, or when a solitary figure whispers under the moon, the same current moves beneath the surface, a human pulse repeating the oldest refrain, as it was, so it shall be. So maybe the difference between a spell and a prayer isn't heaven or hell. It's only the story that we choose to tell about what our hands are doing.
Uh-huh.
What do
Yeah,
you think?
I agree. I I think putting so much connection, it's like it's really hard when you listen to that to try to think that there is none, like no matter how you want to twist it or put it, there is a connection
There
and
is.
it's very interesting.
Absolutely. And I think one of the hardest things for a lot of people is you can show them the connection, but want to
Want
they don't want to see it for what it is because
right.
they've been so indoctrinated in what they believe. And that could
I
be
think a lot of
on either
people
side.
get caught up in proving that other people so wrong
Yeah.
instead of taking a second. You know how they say like sometimes when you're having a conversation, if you're not actively listening,
You're
you're
listening to
often
respond.
thinking yeah, you're often thinking about your next response. I think naturally people just tend to do that instead of actively listening and like trying to see connection. And
Mhm.
I like what you just said where it's we have turned from creators to you said it a little differently.
Are we
Like
talking about going into
instead of
like
being
it's
created,
the
we are the
likes?
creators. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going into the mechanical realm of it all where we're putting our life into this algorithm and seeking likes and offering hashtags and please see me.
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Very interesting. Yeah, I just for everybody again who's listening, it's not trying to tell you how to believe or how to see things
Right.
or, everybody has their thing. I just find it very interesting that when you look at it through a very, I don't even know, there's no perspective. I have no desire to make you see one way or another. It's very
Right.
neutral. When you can see things in
There's
that,
just similarities.
yes, when you can look at it in a neutral perspective, it's very similar. You have someone
Right.
who is still offering blood. They're still offering words. They're still offering candles, anointing oils, incenses. They're still there and they're all still doing the same thing as trying to change something for the better.
Right.
Or, I mean, depending on, what you're doing for the curse. And I mean, it's all vibration, energy, words, what have you, when you look at it with a stone
Right.
cold eye. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Well,
So,
thank you.
you're welcome. That's peculiar for you today.
And it was fun.
I'm glad you
And I
enjoyed it.
hope all of you learned something. And if you have thoughts or anything you want to add or share, comment.
Please, I would love some discourse. It's fun. I think
Yeah.
talking about things is really important.
Right.
So,
I do too.
yeah.
Which is why we have a podcast together.
I just think you like talking to me weekly.
That is also it. I missed you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today on That's Peculiar. And if all things go as planned, we'll see you next week.
Yes. Hopefully.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on That's Peculiar. Let us know the kind of stories you like to hear so we can tailor your listening experience. Tune in next week for another episode of That's Peculiar.